Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow morning, and instead of scrolling on your phone or checking messages, you spend just 5 minutes with English. Maybe you read a short story, maybe you listen to a small podcast. It doesn't feel like a big effort in that moment, but over time, these tiny little choices compound. They build something bigger, like tiny bricks that you're laying. That's what we're talking about today. The little habits that can change your English forever. Not grand plans, not expensive courses, and not magic tricks because, spoiler alert, there's not any. Just small steps that, if you repeat them every day, will lead you to fluency. So sit back, relax, and let's take a journey together into the world of small but powerful habits. Let's get going. Let me tell you a story. There was a student named Maria from Brazil. She always said she did not have time to study English. Between work, family, and life, it felt impossible. But one day, she made a tiny change. Every morning while drinking her coffee, she opened an English app and read for 5 minutes. Just 5. That's it. At first, it felt silly. 5 minutes won't change anything, she thought. But after 1 year, she realized she had read over 30 hours of English content without stress and without losing sleep. The lesson: 5 minutes in the morning is not just 5 minutes. It's a signal to your brain. English is part of my day, and that repetition builds fluency over time. So tomorrow morning, before coffee, before social media, before emails, give yourself the gift of 5 minutes in English. Now, have you ever noticed how children learn their first language? They talk to themselves. They repeat words, play with sounds, invent sentences. You can do the same. When you're cooking, say, "I'm cutting onions. Now I'm adding salt." When you're driving, say, "Wow, the road is busy today. I need to turn left." It doesn't matter if your grammar isn't perfect. What matters is that you are training your brain to think in English. I had a friend from Mexico, Luis. He worked as a waiter in the U.S. At first, his English was weak, but every day while cleaning tables, he would whisper to himself, "I'm cleaning the table. I'm putting the glass here. Oh, the customer looks happy." After 6 months, his coworker said, "Wow, your English has improved so much." He wasn't taking expensive lessons. He was simply talking to himself. Now, think about this. Every single day, you are surrounded by new words. Maybe you hear one in a song. Maybe you see one on social media. Maybe a friend uses a word you don't know. But here's the problem. If you don't capture it, you'll forget it. That's why I suggest carrying a little notebook, or even just using your phone's notes app. Write down 1 to 3 words a day. No pressure, no long lists, just a few. Here's the magic trick. At night, use those words in a sentence. For example, you learn a new word. Let's say curious. I'm curious about learning new languages. Or if you learn the word challenge, this exercise is a challenge, but I like it. One of my students once collected 1,000 words in 1 year. Just 3 at a time. Today, she speaks English fluently, and she says, "That small notebook was my biggest treasure." Now, do you know how many times you look at your phone every day? Studies say between 80 to 100 times. That's 80 small opportunities to practice English. If your phone is set to English, that is. When you see words like settings, update, notifications, battery low, you are training your brain naturally. You don't even have to study. One of my friends from Morocco told me he learned words like reply, delete, and forward simply from changing his email app into English. These are words he never learned in school. It's uncomfortable at first, yes. But remember, fluency is built in the moments of small discomfort. Here's a beautiful habit, though. At night, before you sleep, write just one sentence in English about your day. Bonus points if you're using your word that you found. Like, today I went to the market. I met an old friend. I felt tired, but happy. That's it. Just one line. Over time, you'll see your sentence getting longer, richer, more natural. I had a student, Aisha, who started this habit. At first, she wrote, "Today is good." But after a year, she was writing, "Today was wonderful because I had the chance to practice English with a tourist who visited my city." One line per night turned into a diary of growth. Now, many learners make the mistake of listening to something once and moving on. But the brain loves repetition. Here's the trick. Take a short video or podcast and listen every day for a week. Day 1, you understand maybe 40%. Day 3, you understand 70%. By day 7, you'll likely understand just about everything. You don't just study English, you live it. Think of your favorite song. You didn't understand the lyrics the first time, right? But after hearing it 20 times, you can sing along. That's how listening works. A trigger habit is when you connect English to something you already do every day. For example, brushing your teeth, listen to English audio, drink morning coffee, read one English page, or walking to school or work, practice shadowing, repeat what you hear in English. This is powerful because you don't need to find time. You just attach English to your existing routines. Think of it like this. Every time you do the old habit, it also triggers the new one. That's how you build consistency. Here's the last habit, maybe the most important one, so listen up. Celebrate your small victories. Did you understand one new phrase today? That's great. Did you speak one sentence more confidently? Wow, wonderful. Did you finish a 2-minute podcast without stopping? Now that's a win. Why celebrate? Because your brain loves reward. Motivation grows when you feel progress. I once met a learner who celebrated every new word by giving himself a piece of chocolate. And guess what? He never missed a day of vocabulary practice. So here's the truth. Improving your English doesn't come from one giant leap. It comes from the little steps repeated every day. Imagine yourself 6 months from now. You wake up, spend 5 minutes with English. talk to yourself while cooking, write a line at night, and celebrate your small progress. Those habits, though small today, become powerful tomorrow. So my question for you is, which habit will you start today? Don't wait for the perfect course. Don't wait for free time. Start small. Start now. And watch your English grow. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend who's also learning English. And remember, fluency is not a dream. It's a habit. I'll see you next time, my friends.